Let me start the introduction for you, and then just a few housekeeping rules. First of all, again, keep your microphones muted and your videos off so our speaker doesn't get interrupted until the end, at which point there'll be question and answer time. My name is Craig Smith. I'm the executive manager of the GSSA. Welcome to another one of these lunchtime or afternoon lecture series that we're putting on during lockdown, and they've proved pretty popular. Today we have a lady named Tanya Matveeva talking about blockchain technology in mining, which I think is a pretty new application. So we're all going to learn something here, I think. Tanya graduated from Moscow State University with a master's degree. She's had 20 years in mineral exploration, 20 plus years. She's worked all over the globe and has looked at various metals and various types of deposits, including copper, nickel, platinum, gold, iron ore, bauxite, diamonds, coal, tin, tungsten, shale gas, uranium, and so forth. She started work in Russia with a large international company, which took her to the frozen tundra and then to the high peaks of Canada. She's worked in Australia. She's worked in Cameroon, scary mines in Rwanda, West Africa in general, and the Kazakhstan steppes. She's an enthusiast of new technologies, and I think that's what got her into the blockchain game, and that's what she's going to talk about to us today. So Tanya, please take over. I'll mute my mic and shut off my video. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Greg. Great introduction, and thank you everybody for joining in today. Greetings from sunny, warm Kent here in UK. Craig Nolin, thank you very much for inviting me. I had a privilege to listen in yesterday on a fantastic webinar about discovery of Kamoa-Kakula deposit given by George from Ivanhoe. It was a great tale, and I know I have big shoes to fill, and it's a very different topic we'll be talking about today. Not as exciting as high grade and thick intersections of copper, but in order to draw your attention, I brought some props in today. These are beats and I name my presentation Blockchain Borscht in mining, harking back to my origin from Russia. Borscht is a popular soup, and that's pretty much what happened in my head when I started studying blockchain. I read, collected all this information and created quite a mess in my head. I asked my son to put all the words that I got, all the Word documents into a cloud, and this is what came out of it. These are the words that you meet as you study blockchain in mining. And so this is my blockchain borscht in one big pot, and I'm hoping to serve it to you over my talk today. Why blockchain? Why should you think about it? You probably have heard the word, you definitely heard the buzz of the Bitcoin, and a lot of people still think that blockchain means digital currencies, but that's not so. Digital currency is just one expression of the blockchain technology, and I truly believe that blockchain will change our life in all areas of our life. In particular, in our area, in geology, in mining, if you ever have to deal with the large data sets that need to be accessed by many parties at the same time, but for slightly different purposes, if you ever have to deal with multiple suppliers to project who supply parts from various origins, if you sell on your product to the trader who then sells on to the consumer, if you have these long chains of transferring, the materials, if you want to get a finance for your project and your financier wants to make sure that he knows what he's financing, these are all the areas where blockchain is being used now in other industries, and it's just a matter of time when mining will adopt more processes to the blockchain platform applications. So in my presentation today, I will talk briefly about the technology itself, because it's still pretty new. It's really not new, but it's still pretty new. So maybe some people don't know some of the basics about it and why is it good for us. I will spend most of the time actually presenting where it is already used in mining, and then I will touch upon the difficulties and hopefully the bright future, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. So that's just the future, sorry, the outline. So where it all started for me, and I just, Craig, this is what I mentioned. I always worked with data management in geological exploration, right from the very beginning of my career. But it really, the highlight was for me on a diamond exploration project in Nunavut in Canada, where we collected thousands of samples in the field. And my job was to collate all this information and make it meaningful, to find where our kimberlites are by tracking the indicator minerals trends. So I was receiving every week from the laboratory, I was receiving Excel spreadsheets with counts of indicator minerals, and I was receiving from Microprobe Lab the compositions of the garnets, and then I had my RFU project, and it was just very quickly becoming overwhelming. And fortunately, my boss at the time supported me and gave me time, and I learned about programming in Access, Microsoft Access, and I created my very primitive Access database that completely revolutionized my work, made it faster, better, but most importantly, it gave me the opportunity to analyze data the way I was not able to analyze before when I just was working with these multiple Excel spreadsheets. I was able to see the correlations that were not possible before. Everything was linked directly from Access into ArcView, so all the data were current and accurate, and so it was just great. I loved that. But this was this centralized relational database. I was the boss, and this is how things were before, and this is how they are now for most people. Now, when I came across a book on big data about 2 years ago, I also became excited, because big data is a very interesting concept. Basically, you can extract information from big data sets that you didn't intend to as you were collecting them. And in this book, it mentioned blockchain ever so briefly, but I realized that this is a fantastic concept when the database is not held just by one owner, but by multiple owners simultaneously. So I started learning about that. And so I will just outline briefly the main properties of the blockchain. So first of all, it is distributed ledger technology. That means all the participants in this network, in the chain of the blockchain, have access to exact same data set. That's number one. Number two, every transaction within this blockchain system is encrypted, and it carries in it the record of every previous transaction. So that means that you cannot, one participant cannot go back and change something there without every other participant knowing about it. So blockchain basically is like a digital trust system. You know that if your data is on blockchain, it is secure because everybody can see, what's going on. And this is why this technology is used by digital currencies, because it is so safe. Very briefly, how it all appeared. The birth of blockchain technology is shrouded in mystery. Some mysterious character called Satoshi Nakamoto, who doesn't even know if it's a person, is it a group of people, where are they from, nobody knows, but they published a white paper online that became the foundation of the Bitcoin digital currency. And for the longest time, this is what blockchain was. It was the foundation of Bitcoin currency. The next big development came with a different blockchain platform called Ethereum. Ethereum was started by my compatriot, Vitalik Buterin. He was born in Russia, but grew up in Canada. The big difference between the Bitcoin blockchain platform and Ethereum platform is that Ethereum lends itself to adaptation. So if you need a blockchain application for your purpose, rather than just digital currency, but for your organization, you can use it based on Ethereum blockchain platform. And you will see through my presentation that quite a few of enterprises now are using Ethereum as their foundation blockchain platform, but there are some others as well. IBM created Hyperledger, there's Everledger, and there are some others. I don't want to throw too many names, and it's not really important. The important thing is that there is this blockchain platform and it can be used for various applications. Now, so far I've been talking about public blockchains for digital currencies where everybody can see everything. But that, of course, does not work for industry application where you don't want everybody to see everything, and that's not necessary. And from that need, a different blockchain platforms evolved, so-called permission blockchains or private blockchains. So this is where a limited number of participants have access to the data, where they all decide together who gets access to what data and what are the rules of the transactions within this blockchain. The foundation is still the same. It's still a shared database. The transactions are still encrypted and carry in them the record of previous, so it's still very safe. But it's different in that not everybody sees all the same, data all the time. So this is mainly used by mining companies and traders and financiers now. Okay, so like I said, let's go through where it is used in mining industry now. Starting from the very beginning, and the most common application now, blockchain, is supply chain tracking. So to make sure that where is your metal coming from. One of the pioneers of this process is a company called RCS Global. And as you can see on this slide, they worked with many mining companies, many trading companies, and many already consumers. So companies like Sony and Nokia and all the big names. So they mainly created application that ensured that the consumer has the metals that come from sustainable, responsible mines. Yeah, so you know where your metals are coming from. Another good example of that, same thing, same group, RCS Global, works with Glencore on IBM blockchain platform, Hyperledger, and they work with three major car manufacturers, Ford, Volvo, Volkswagen, to guarantee that the cobalt that these companies are using is coming from responsible sources. Obviously, 60% of cobalt come from DRC, some of it come from this artisanal mines, and so some of it have problems in safety, exploitation, etc. So this is what this is all about. This blockchain application. They started what's called responsible source. Companies are joining that. Okay, in the same kind of area works another small startup called Minespider out of Berlin. They do, again, responsible sourcing for gold, for tin, and for lead, and you can see also they work with Volkswagen. So they just started this a couple of years ago. Diamonds have been using blockchain for quite a while. They track each individual diamond from their origin in the mine through to trading, through to already jeweler, all the way to the sale of the individual diamond. And the interesting thing here is that two largest mining companies, Alrosa and De Beers, got together and they used the same blockchain platform called Tracker. That's a rare example of collaboration between two major mining companies on something. Also on diamonds, a company called Everledger. That just is a good example for you. What does the certificate that comes with each diamond, what it looks like. Each diamond has its unique identifier that is then tracked through the whole system. Okay. But what is interesting for me in blockchain is more than just supply chain applications. I believe that blockchain has a potential to improve all our processes in industry. And so I want to talk about Supply Chain Plus here. A company that is started in Canada, but they also are quite active here in London. I've met with their representatives here, called MineHub. As you can see from this rather busy slide, basically they do the tracking also. They also do the supply chain application, but they also work with a trader, and they work with the financing agency to have the whole kind of process on the blockchain application. In terms of the mining company, you can see names here, Newmont Gold. They also work with Goldcorp, Capstone in British Columbia in Canada. And it's on IBM blockchain platform, Hyperledger. And they work with the Dutch bank, ING. ING is very active in mining space. So they work together to develop this project, this platform. I have seen the example of it, and I'll talk a little bit more about it later on. In the similar line, a company out of US called Blockheaded Technologies. They have two different kind of apps, if you like. One is called Stamp and the other called Stamp Stream. They all come up with these very cool names for their blockchain apps. And as you can see, the Stamp does, again, everything. It does the supply chain, but it also does audit and compliance, production operations, so smart contracts, something that also is very important for blockchain applications. You can see logistics there as well. And Stamp Stream is for metal accounting. So it's more than just the supply chain. It's already managing the whole process of production, trading, financing the mining process. Very different application of blockchain, the one that I'm very pleased to see, and I would like to learn more actually what happened with it. It's been a long time that this has been announced. BHP Billiton, company that I started working with in Russia, now they use blockchain to track the processing of samples as they go from the mine through their laboratories and into the external laboratories. Because the sample goes through so many stages, they put this information on blockchain in order to make it secure and accessible at a later date. So that's the only one I've heard application like that, but I think that's very exciting. Now, blockchain and trading, obviously logical, because it started in trading, money. So in trade, quite a few companies now are developing blockchain applications. Nornickel in Russia, a major nickel, platinum, palladium producer, copper of course too, are using again Hyperledger, that's the IBM platform. They create tokens for their future production and they trade these tokens. This is relatively new that it started, because one of the difficulties that blockchain encounters is the legislation. But Russia recently issued a new legislation that it allows this trading of tokens, and so Norilsk Nickel is now starting that. Similarly, Rio Tinto is now selling tokens for their iron ore production, for their big projects in Western Australia, selling to China. That's the application of blockchain in trading for mining. An area where blockchain really should develop but hasn't yet is our real estate. Blockchain is very actively used in real estate as we know it, for selling houses, etc. But in mining, our real estate is our licenses. And that is still coming. I have not yet heard of that being developed, but I do know that there are organizations that are looking into it. And if somebody knows of the blockchain applications for that, I'll be very happy to hear it. For finance, company White & Case, they're big fans of the blockchain technology here in London. So they've issued a white paper about blockchain in financing, securing finance for mining projects. Basically, the bank will want to be assured of your future production for your for the financing of your future production. So basically similar to what Nornickel is doing now, but that's more for the future production, not current. So anyway, so they are in finance for mining business. So here we are. I think I went through the main things rather quickly. Hope I served you my blockchain borscht. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer, or any comments.
Thank you very much for that. I'm sure there are questions and comments. If people can raise their hand and come in and unmute their mics. I'd like to start with one question. Is this a technology that could be used to better exploit complex ore bodies? In other words, better grade control, more efficient extraction, and more metal gotten out in the end. Is this an applicable technology?
I don't know. Didn't think about exploiting the ore bodies, but one thing that it does do, again, just examples that I do know of for trading. Sometimes with a complex concentrate, it's difficult to ascertain, who gets kind of what in their concentrate. And this is where blockchain technology is being used to track the quality of the concentrate for different components. So if you have very good information of, slight variations in your concentrate, then the party that is buying it can, choose which exact one they want. They have more flexibility. I have to explore a bit more on that. Blockchain has not yet infiltrated resource estimation, but I'll be very excited to see that happen.
Okay, we have a question from Joseph. Joseph, go ahead.
Yes. Hello, Tanya. Thank you really for the good presentation. I have, I think, like tons of questions, but I'll just put it as one. Looking on mostly in the region where we have people we call Zamazama or local miners who does not fit in the formal way of mining, and how does the blockchain could assist in tracing like mining in east of DRC, here in South Africa, when Joburg, how does blockchain can assist in tracing the source, the place of mining, whether it was through forced labor or other kind of. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's a great question. And I'm very glad to talk about it, because this is exactly where blockchain originates, really. with artisanal miners who are, mining properly, that's a great difficulty for them to make sure that they get, fair price for their products. But this is exactly where blockchain is very powerful, because these applications, like I mentioned, Minespider in Berlin, they do this trial on artisanal miners mining in Ghana, I think. So the blockchain application can work on your smartphone. It's very simple, and it is already being widely applied in production of cotton, for example, or tea or coffee in Rwanda. So the actual farmer who sells their product, if they are registered on this blockchain platform, which costs next to nothing, they know how much they will get immediately, and then once it is on this blockchain system, this production, it then goes through all the trades, etc. And then somebody who wants to sell fair trade coffee, or now they have fair trade gold, and this is what blockchain enables, actually, specifically for small producers, this kind of guarantee of the origin. But of course they have to go through initial assessment, like they have like responsible tin initiative, etc. So they have to prove that their operation is legitimate, that they have a license, that they don't use child labor, etc. But once they have it, they can have a better price for their produce. Does that answer it?
No, thank you.
Yeah, that's really very, very important application of blockchain. And like I said, it's already being used by other industries. This is something we have to learn, that others are already doing it. How do we adjust it to mining? Can I say something else that I actually omitted to say? One thing that we do in mining, we always look up, what's oil and gas are doing? Well, oil and gas have had a blockchain conference, annual blockchain conference going on for 4 years now in Texas. Every year they get together and they discuss application of blockchain in oil and gas. And we'll have a lot of catch up to do to that.
Brent, you had your hand up? We had a query from Brent, but I don't see him anywhere. Brent, are you with us?
And still up.
We'll wait till he gets his microphone adjusted. Any other questions or queries? I thought I heard Nolene jump in.
I was just saying that Brent's hand is still up.
And his microphone shows it's working, but I don't think it's working on his side.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Hello?
Brent, we can hear you. We can hear that you're talking, but we can't actually make out what you're saying. Increase your volume.
All right, is that better now?
Yes,
That's
yes.
a little better.
Oh, that's very loud on my side. In any event, Tanya, thank you very much for elucidating and showing some of us less informed people about blockchain. And I'm wondering if sometime before COVID is done that maybe you can do a talk on an equally illustrative talk about big data and applications directly to mining. That would be really good. But
Thanks for the challenge.
In any event, my question, it's not so much a question, maybe a clarification, but when you're talking about tokenizing, is that very similar, but in sort of a more limited way, similar to Bitcoin and these other digital monetary instruments? Or is it something that's restricted just to those in that supply and demand chain, and maybe there's sort of plus and minus of accounts, so to speak?
Well, I'm just not that technically, knowledgeable to give you a definite answer to that. Basically, token is like a promise, you know, you will buy, you know, that amount of metal of that quality, you know, at that time, and you sell that, right? The difference is that now it's on blockchain, it's kind of more secure, you know, than just a, you know, a paper, you know, certificate or promise. It is similar in the sense that, importantly, why blockchain is used for digital currency, it avoids a double spending. That's a very big problem in our currencies now, is this, the bank can issue the same dollar to two customers, right? There's nothing stopping them. And this is something that blockchain stops from happening, right? So if you issued, you know, because everybody knows what everybody is doing, everybody knows that John has $20 and so he cannot spend 40. So if the company, you know, issued, you know, so many tokens for this production, they cannot, you know, issue more. The same token cannot be sold twice to different customers. So in that sense, yes, it is as secure as money, or more secure than currency. But more than that, I don't think I'm qualified to answer.
So might it be a form of futures trading?
Sorry, Brent, we couldn't quite catch that.
I'll turn it up again. Might it be a form of futures trading?
In my understanding, it is like that, but the difference is that it's on blockchain. That's the difference. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are there any other comments or queries? I don't see any more hands raised. This session has been recorded and it will be lodged on the GSSA YouTube channel within the next couple of days or so, so you can revisit it if you wish to. I'd like to thank Tanya for delivering this. I think it's been a little bit of an eye-opener for me. I think a lot of us know about blockchain technology, but not that it has been applied to the mining and exploration world all that much, but it sounds like it's coming. So Tanya, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll probably have you again.
Thank you.
For those of you who are following this lecture series, tomorrow at 1, we have Dr. Edmund Sides on risk and uncertainty analysis and mineral resource reporting. And check your email for upcoming events. While this lockdown goes on, we're doing about 1 a day. So thank you for that. With that, I'll close the meeting. Thank you, Tanya.
Well, thanks a lot.
We'll be talking to you again.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Tanya.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Tanya. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.